with Star Wars The Force Awakens opening in less than a month, which is going to officially kick off the Star Wars Sequel Trilogy, episodes 7, 8, and 9. I'm here with Mike from LaughingStock Media, and we're going to give our 10 things we want to see in the Star Wars Sequel Trilogy, not just in The Force Awakens. And the way it's going to work is that I've got 5 picks, he's got 5 picks, and we're going to talk about it. So how are you, Mike?
I am doing pretty well. The Force is on my side today.
Well, I'm glad you have somebody on your side, because I sure as hell ain't. No, but let's go ahead and get right into it, bro. 10 things we want to see in the Star Wars Sequel Trilogy. Go ahead and give me your number 5.
Well, for my list, I'm kind of more in line with maybe things we haven't seen thus far in the series, and more, I guess, on a character aspect sort of side, as well as developing the world. So for number 5, I wanted it to be less emphasis on Force users and more on normal humans using different sorts of tactics. Because we've seen time and time again, evil people with dark black cloaks, with a red lightsabers as bad guys. Everyone has to be like brown cloaks, to be good guys. So I feel like it'd be interesting to see like a character like a Thrawn, somebody who's like a strong military leader who doesn't necessarily have to be a Force user that could just, also kick ass and take names and take advantage by those tactics, or just be a hero without the Force.
Okay, that's fair. All right, that works for me. I think like more like a Han Solo type.
Yes, and even for villains too, would be really interesting.
Well, I think Poe Dameron may fill that void, but we'll see. Now, number 5. My number 5 is I want to see Leia kick ass. We don't know how strong Leia actually is with the Force, but I actually want to see Leia show off some Jedi techniques. Whether it be like, I don't know if I want to see her with a lightsaber. That's not what I'm saying, even though that'd be pretty cool. But I would love to see Leia, even though it would be great if she had like a lightsaber and she used it for practical things. But I want to see Leia with some skill using the Force at some point in this trilogy. I want to see her do it. I want to see her, I don't know about killing somebody, but I want to just see her use the Force. What's your number 4?
Well, first off, that would be excellent because I always wanted to see Leia learn the Force because that's something that I always felt she should have done based upon what they said, the Return of the Jedi. But for number 4, I wanted characters who use not only Jedi powers but dark side powers. Maybe someone who isn't just like one side or the next. Someone who's just trying to get the most power for different reasons. So if you're gonna, so someone could be using Jedi techniques, but also dark side, but not be evil by doing so, more of a neutral person, or more of someone who is good, who is using dark side techniques for quote unquote good purposes. Less of a sort of, oh, if you use dark side techniques, you're automatically evil. I think
Well,
that
yeah,
that'd
but
be
you
really
you,
interesting.
you can't really do that though, because it's implied in the other movies that if you use the dark side, forever will it dominate your destiny. Like if you use the dark side techniques, you pretty much are going down the dark path.
Yeah, but I don't really like, I don't feel like just because, like, why are certain techniques automatically evil and certain techniques are automatically good or
I
not
see what you
evil?
mean.
Like, I just don't think that that makes a lot of sense.
Like
Like,
if you're
why?
gonna use Force Lightning to save somebody's life type thing.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Okay, that I don't think Force Lightning is evil in itself, so I do know what you mean by that. So anyways, all right, my number 4, 2 words. Lando Calrissian. We need to see Lando. He's not confirmed for The Force Awakens, but I feel like he has to be in episode 8. Um, the most charismatic man in the galaxy, really. And
Absolutely.
I want to see Lando Calrissian. I don't know if I want to see him behind the wheel of the Millennium Falcon again, but I would. He almost has to be there because he was an important part of the old Star Wars movies.
Absolutely. In Empire and Jedi, he was a big deal.
Huge deal. You're number 3.
My number 3 kind of ties in more to what I was just talking about when it comes to the, using powers. I want to see if we get more Jedi, which I'm sure we're going to, if they rebuild the Jedi, or if we just get more Jedi, I want to see them struggling against the Jedi code. And, the stories not necessarily have to be black and white. Like I don't like I want to see some people like saying, why does it have to be this way or that way? Why can't I be good and yet still do this? Why can't I be good? Why does this code have to exist? Why can't I have a family? I feel like there's a lot of humanity that was lost in the prequels via the sort of code that they tried to establish. So I want to see like a lot of that kind of either disbanded or kind of going in a different direction in this so that these people can be more relatable and they can have like real struggles that real people would have because when it comes to religions and stuff there's always schisms and different sects that form and yet they're not automatically evil just because they have different points of view and interpretations.
Yeah, and the expanded universe really went into that. Not so much the regular 6 films, but the expanded universe really did explore that. Actually, my number 3 is very similar to yours. I want to see new Jedi. Now, I think we're going to see it either way, but what I mean specifically is I want to see Jedi that have popped up in between episode 6 and episode 7. I want to see somebody who was either trained by Luke or trained by one of the Jedi survivors. Because here's the thing. Even though the Jedi were purged by Darth Vader and the Emperor after the Clone Wars, regardless, there's still some Jedi that are in hiding. I mean, they didn't say that every single Jedi went extinct. Their fire has been lit out of the galaxy, but there's probably some Jedi still out there, and I want to see their presence felt in the sequel trilogy.
I mean, Yoda did say, when I am gone, the last of the Jedi you will be. But like, I don't. I mean, Yoda isn't omniscient. Like they especially pointed that out in the prequels, and obviously Yoda didn't expect Vader to tell Luke that he was his father. So it's not like Yoda is always right and always 100% like aware of everything. In the original story for a Jedi was going to be Leia was being trained on the other side of the galaxy by another Jedi. So I feel like, I mean, as long as someone has the Force and a will to do good, they should theoretically be able to be a Jedi.
And they get trained, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your number 2.
My number two is something that I'm always a big fan of, and something that I feel like the prequels missed out on for the most point. And it would be nice to see like some of the stuff that was kind of mentioned in the original trilogy, and that is more explanation of the lore and history of the characters and backstories, like such as the Jedi, the Sith. An explanation basically of their history, things that have happened in the past, fleshing out that sort of world building sort of idea. So like the histories of these characters, the chronologies, the anthologies, all this different stuff that's happened to make Star Wars an even more rich and expansive universe.
I agree with that. And again, the EU expanded on that, but with
And
the new.
They
Go ahead.
felt like throwing that away.
Well, yeah, the new Disney canon is now doing it again, but the problem is that not everybody, especially casual fans, are going to go out there and read all the books and the comics. It's just not.
Yeah, so I want to see it in the movies.
I would too, but I have a feeling Disney's going to probably promote that as, okay, well, check out the supplemental stuff. The movies will be about the Skywalkers, but I think you're going to have to pay to see that separately. I just knowing the way they are, man, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, my number 2 is new Force powers. Now, again, this is kind of from the EU as well, but in the films, we only see like a Force push and a Force pull and Force lightning. But if you read the expanded universe, you'll learn about stuff like the Force tornadoes and Force earthquakes and really Force powers that, are kind of very dangerous. Really dangerous. I want to see that. I don't just want to see people using the Force to like move stuff. That's kind of we've seen that already. I want to see some real like disasters happen. Something that's or choking people. We've seen Force choke as well.
We saw Luke like heart attack, some people to death. So I feel like even Jedi should be able to use like certain things that are evil, but they're for good purposes.
Yeah, and I just want to see some new ones. Like I know that like some of the EU talks about Force fireballs and things like that, where you can do like Dragon Ball type techniques and things like that in Star Wars. Things like that I would like to see. So something unique, some kind of unique Force power. I remember reading that there are, one of the rumors, this is a rumor, this is not any spoiler, about the new trilogy is that Snoke and Kylo Ren want to unlock Jedi holocrons to unlock mysterious Force powers from the past. And we're talking about the distant past, not even the prequel era, like before that. Dangerous Force powers that were suppressed. I don't know if that's the actual storyline of the movie. We still don't know what the actual story is and what the motivations are for Kylo Ren and for Snoke. We don't know what they are, but one thing is for certain, that would be pretty cool. So, what is your number 1?
Well, my number 1 would be something that goes back more to the nature of Star Wars as a whole and the foundation of what I believe really defined the series. And that is more emphasis on the nature of the Force and less emphasis on, say, the physical and lightsabers and the stuff that, is more fan servicey. So in this, I'd really like to see more like the mystical nature of the Force, like explained in Empire. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, as opposed to just like the flips and all this other like over the top ridiculous stuff. I want to see more of a return to the mystical nature, the magical nature, and this kind of thing that really made Star Wars feel so magical. And like anyone could really use the Force, anyone could be this way or that way. Not merely, you have to be strong physically and you have to have this cool looking sword, like that's something that I really want to see overall because I feel like that'll really help the magic return to Star Wars if you remystify the Force and make it something much better than and much bigger than this weapon is your life, which I feel like is something that the prequels really failed at.
Yeah, he did say his weapon is your life, and really, a Jedi's weapon is a lightsaber. But you'd think that if you're powerful enough in the Force, you wouldn't have to use it that frequently.
Yeah.
Very, very fair. My number one, and this is total fanboy shit. I want to see Luke Skywalker kick ass, bro. That's what I want to see. That's what's gonna make me mark out. I want to
Absolutely.
see Luke on some Yoda level shit, throwing motherfuckers around, throwing spaceships around. I
Yeah.
want to see Luke use his lightsaber if he has to and just cut somebody up with ease. Um, I want to see Luke kick real ass. That's my number one. I know it's fanboy because Luke's my favorite character. I know I'm coming off like a fanboy, but I really want that Luke from Return of the Jedi where he was just this ruthless fucking just badass. I want to
Yeah.
see this guy back, and I want to see him prove to the galaxy that he is the last of the Jedi, and that he is the really the most powerful Force user in the galaxy.
Totally agree. And I definitely want to see Luke and Luke back in action. And hopefully he's not just a glorified cameo in these movies. I want to see him do some real stuff because he's Luke. He was the main character of the original trilogy. And I do want to see, lightsabers in action, but I want to see more of the other things because at the end of the day, we've seen lightsabers galore. It'd be really interesting to see more of those interesting force powers that don't really rely on just the lightsaber because it's cool for the sake of being cool.
I agree. I agree with you completely. And the thing is that no, we'll see. But I definitely want to see that. So, what are your things that you want to see? Your 10 things or whatever. What kind of things do you want to see in the Star Wars sequel trilogy? Leave your comments down below, and we'll talk to you there. And of course, check out LaughingStock Media. And like always, there's a whole lot more to come in the future.
See you
And don't
later.
forget to subscribe.
Do
Blah.
now.